Hello, hello. Once again, it's cup of tea time. I have realised in the videos, you can see my dirty thumbs. I'm so sorry. It's because I do weightlifting. I do Olympic weightlifting. And one of the joys of being self-employed is I can combine working with training in the daytime. And I always take my thumbs up. So that's why I've got slightly, take my thumbs up, went Olympic weightlifting, had a shower, did loads of work and then went to the hairdressers. Not a bad life for a girl, property developer really, is it? Anyway, what I wanted to talk about was how did I get started and how did I raise the money? And so whilst I can't give you any financial advice, I can just tell you my experience. I just think it's quite useful for you guys to listen to the statistical numbers. So I only work with people I like, whether it's raising money from them or working in property or working in my team, because do you know what? Life is way too short and I had to put up with some, you know, maybe not my favorite people in the world when I was in corporate life. I mean, some people are amazing, but not everybody, and I just think life is too short and I kind of want to work with my own village, and so let's have everybody in the village that we like really cool. So what did I do? I went to my local pin network actually, which was Bristol Pin, and I used to collect between 10 and 20 business cards a night. I always ask people, what's your objective, what's your time frame, and how much is your pot? So what are you looking to achieve? By when do you want to achieve it, and what cash have you initially got to achieve it with? And this was when I really knew very little. I mean, I bought 2 houses and then raised £600,000, then bought my initial portfolio, which now I'm like, oh, it's really dinky, of 1.8 million. And that was because I fundraised £600,000 from that one place, from that one meeting. And I did that in just under 3 months. So are you ready for a quick gallop through? So collect 10 to 20 business cards and ask three questions. What's your objective, what's your time frame, and what's your pot? That allows me to understand almost the APR. So if they have, say, £100,000 and they want to create 20 grand profit in a year, that's obviously, they want 20% interest over a whole year. Well, I can't give 20% interest, but potentially doing buy to sells, when we look at a 20% margin and we're averaging 5.75 months, but we split that between two parties. So every 6 months, somebody could make, say, 10 grand, and then they could make another 10 grand. And the other thing, of course, with buy to sells, you don't necessarily need to just use somebody's cash. You can also use leverage. So they might be able to split their pot a bit more. So I work out what do they want to achieve, and can my projects deliver the numbers that they're looking for in the time frame that they're looking for it for. If the answer is yes, great, let's book a coffee because let's talk. If the answer is no, then there's absolutely no point me saying, oh, would you like to use your 100,000? Because from the get-go, I won't be able to deliver to what they are hoping to achieve with their money. Now, normally I found that if they're hoping to achieve almost too much with their money, or not too much, but a very high return with their money, their thinking is a little bit more hopeful than maybe the reality can be delivered in property. But I'm not one to burst their bubble. I certainly am not in the business of persuading somebody to change their plans. I just wish them good luck and maybe catch up with them in 6 months' time. So I collect 10 to 20, or collected, I don't do it anymore, 10 to 20 business cards. And then what's your time frame, what's your objective, and what's your pot? And if somebody has money and I'm running was running a fundraising campaign, I would then suggest that we may schedule some time there and then to book in a call. Because I'm in that meeting to collect business cards and they're in that meeting to meet people too. We're not going to do business that night. We're not going to be like, oh, you know, give me your money. No, let's just start a relationship and see whether it's going to lead to a place that's good for both of us. So we'd have a first call and then probably a first meet. And at that point, I'd outline the kind of projects I do, the kind of funding I'm looking for, where it was joint venture or direct loans. Remember 13.3 and have a look at the PS 13.3. It's online. You can read all the pages. I used to read it on the train with a Kit Kat and a cup of tea. Just make sure you're familiar with it, and that's around variable opportunities. So have a look at that for joint ventures. And so I would basically look at the opportunities that I was able to offer and see whether one of those opportunities would fit the investor and whether they're actually compliant to be able to work with me. At that point, when we had a good old chat and I had all my legal documentation, I had case studies, I had before and after photos, we might well go visit a property or two. Or if you haven't started, you might want to show them what properties you're looking at. Then I'd book the second meeting and maybe third meeting, fourth meeting, but usually they'd agree by kind of roughly the second meeting. But within that time, we probably have 2 or 3 or 4 phone calls that we've arranged to have as well. So statistically, I found that people will decide to work with me between 5 and 7 touch points, being telephone calls and meetings. I don't count emails as a touch point. And statistically, on average, from day of meeting to day of somebody working with you with their funds, it's usually 6 months. Now, some people pop early at 3 months. Some people take a year. One guy said, I was just waiting to make sure you were successful before I gave you money. Clever guy. But most people, it's about 6 months. So you need to normally meet 5 to 9 times or 5 to 7 times or call or talk before they're going to trust you and before you're going to trust them, because it's a two-way process. So going back to the maths, 10 to 20 business cards, 2 coffees, 5 to 7 to maybe 9 touch points, on average 6 months. One person will say yes, one person will say no. So 1 and 2 say yes, 1 and 2 say no. That's my stats. And on average, they will put into your fundraising campaign 50 grand. So working it backwards, how many coffees, if one says yes, one says no, but on average the one that says yes is 50 grand, do you need to have to raise 50 grand? 2. To raise 100 grand? 4. To raise 200 grand? Get my maths right? 8. Is that hard? No. Just start with a coffee and remember, what's your time frame, what's your objective, and what's your pot. And if what they want to do allows you to deliver to their requirements, great, go for it. Make some money together. So good luck. Obviously take legal advice and I hope you're very successful.